Welcome, my friends. Welcome to Unknown Sounds on YouTube with me, Pete Saxer. Now, tonight, our guest is half of the amazing Norwegian Soft Kitten. That's right, they're an aimless two-piece rock and roll outfit consisting of Glenn Berggoetz and Alan Green. Their blend of excellent musicianship, unique perspective, and varying levels of humor clashed with seriousness have led to diverse tunes, such as the hilarious 34-second Humpty Broth to the dark, introspective 10.5 minute Copper Harbor. Here to explain himself and his band is Glenn Berggoetz of Norwegian Soft Kitten.
Hey, Glenn.
Hey.
Hey, nice to see you.
You too.
Great. So we've been in contact through Unknown Sounds. We played some music on the show, and this is the first time we're meeting. It's very nice to see you, mate.
Yeah, you too. I really appreciate you giving us a little publicity.
Oh, no worries at all. Thank you. And you're coming all the way from the United States.
That's correct. I'm right now in Indiana. My bandmate Alan is in Los Angeles, but we met in Denver. We were making films together in Denver, and that's how we found out we were both musicians.
Oh, that's great. And what was there like this simpatico and you just hit it off right away?
Well, yeah, we were having a lot of fun making films, and we had done a short film together, Bad Movies, Good Showers, and Civil Engineers. And then we worked on a feature film, an action comedy called To Die Is Hard. And I wrote and directed and starred in it, and Alan shot and edited it.
Wow.
And so we were really getting to know each other, having fun working together. And one day Alan picked me up. We were going to go to an Indian buffet to talk over some film stuff. And when he picked me up at my apartment, I got in his car, and on the floorboard, there were some drumsticks. And I'm like, dude, you play the drums? He's like, yeah, man, I play the drums. I'm like, I play the guitar. We should form a band. He's like, oh, everyone says they want to form a band. Then they never rehearse or write songs or anything. I'm like, no, we'll rehearse. We'll write songs. And so that's how we formed over an Indian buffet.
That's great. That's fantastic. Jeez. Okay. So for those few audience members that may not have heard of Norwegian Soft Kitten, can you tell us a little bit about it? What type of music, that kind of thing?
Well, when Alan and I were getting ready to release our first album in 2020, we couldn't figure out how to label ourselves because, I guess we're all indie bands, but are we alternative? Well, we got some alternative stuff, but not really. Are we metal? And we got a little metal stuff, mostly from Alan. He's a metal fan, but we're not really metal. And we got some kind of country-ish songs, a little punk. We had an a cappella Western song. Like, what are we going to call ourselves? And so we started throwing terms around. And I said, well, how about like Gush, Gush? Instead of rock band, we're a Gush band. Well, he said, well, what's the definition of Gush? I said, well, a band that'll play whatever music seems to fit what the song needs. So we call ourselves a Gush band because we have punk, country punk, rock, we have metal, we have a prog rock song, we have the Western a cappella song, we have a lullaby, which I might play for you here today in a little bit. We just play whatever we feel like playing.
That is the best answer I've ever heard. That's great. And I love the term Gush rock. I'm going to use it from now on. I love it. Thank you, Glenn.
Oh, you're welcome.
Now, before we get started, I want to do a little thing we call quick fire questions. Okay.
All right.
I'm just going to say something very quick and you respond to it without even thinking, just the first thing that came into your head. Okay. And we're going to do it quite fast. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Here we go. Best band.
Talking Heads.
Oh, I'm going to have to give that to you. I was going to say Beatles, but I'm going to give that to you. Best U.S. state.
Pardon?
Best U.S. state.
I'm going to say California.
New Jersey.
I'm from New Jersey. That's where I was born.
Oh, my God. Me too. Tom's River.
Wow. I was born in Atlantic City, and my first few years were spent in Egg Harbor.
Wow. I have friends in Egg Harbor. Little Egg
What?
Harbor. Little Egg Harbor. Which is smaller than Big Egg Harbor, but who knows?
Oh, okay.
Anyway, the best stringed musical instrument.
I'm going to say guitar.
Ukulele. Yeah. And last one, best domestic animal.
Orangutans?
Domestic animal?
Kind of orangutans.
Okay. I'll just be prepared when I go to your house. Pot-bellied pig. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, what I didn't tell you is that was my way of collecting some data. Okay. I'm going to send it off to the Institute while we're speaking, and they're going to get back to me with their results before we end. Okay.
Okay, so I have like another hour before the straitjacket is put on, huh?
Wow. So, and I also want to note that was the longest round of quick questions we've had.
I'm actually surprised it went that quickly. Usually, once I start talking, I just ramble for like 8 or 10 minutes. So,
Wow. Okay, so yeah, I was going to ask you about the diversity of your music, but you have given me great answers with the gush. Do you call it gush gender or just gush music?
we just say Gush. And
Gush.
since we're the only Gush band on the planet, we're the #1 Gush band on the planet.
That's right. That's how I'm gonna describe it. The number Norwegian Soft Kitten, #1 gush band in all the world. Fantastic. Now, Norwegian Soft Kitten. When I first saw you come on the screen here, I was kind of expecting you to be in those, the cosplay animal fur and stuff. You ever do that?
We have not done that. It hasn't even come up as an option. And in fact, Alan, he's not really interested in playing live. We've never played live. So, yes, we even had a chance to do cosplay on stage. And I've tried to goad Alan into, doing like a They Might Be Giants thing. I've always liked They Might Be Giants. And, I've read about how when they were first getting together, like in the 80s, the two Johns just piled into a van, put their equipment in there, and just drove around the country for a year or so, just playing any college or any bar that would let them play. I'm like, Alan, we should do that. We could do that. My guitars, your drum kit, we'll have the other stuff programmed in, just drive around the country in a van for a year and a half. And he said, that sounds like the worst idea I've ever heard. Living out of a van for a year? So, yeah, it's probably not going to happen. So you don't have to worry about seeing us in cosplay for the time being. Anyway.
Okay. All right. I'll just have to dream of it. Okay. So I was going to ask also about your live gigs. You never played live.
We have not. We're a studio band. We take our time crafting the songs, and most of the crafting comes from Alan. I throw together a couple chords, some lyrics, and then I'll usually record like a minute and a half demo. I'll just record it on the laptop and send it to him. Like, okay, here's what I got. And then on the rare occasions we get together, we got together in the Colorado mountains in 2012 to record our first album. And then we got together in December of 2020 and December of 2021 to record more material. And so then, we have 50 some songs Alan still has to put together and put the drums and bass in and mix. And usually I'm like, okay, Alan, here are my chords. I'll play some chords. I'll sing my stuff. Okay, turn it into something decent that's not disgusting. So, I like to say we craft our albums. Alan crafts our albums. I give him a little something to work with, and then he has to do 95% of the work.
Right. So you give him the seeds of the song, of the tune. So do you write the lyrics as well?
Yeah, probably 2/3 of the songs I write the music and lyrics and sing, and Alan does the other third.
Mm-hmm.
And but Alan, does all the drums and bass mixing, does keyboards. So, as I tell people, if a train was to run over me today, Norwegian Soft Kitten would be just fine because Alan can keep doing all that stuff. If Alan gets hit by a train today, we are hosed as a band because I can't do all that incredible stuff Alan does.
Yeah. It's so funny. We have another band called the Sunpin Leaves who've been on the show for a long time. They actually were at our live gig that we did last year. It's the same setup. One of them plays, well, actually, one writes the songs, the lyrics, and sings, and the other guy does everything else. They do play live, but they have a lot of recorded stuff because there's so much going on behind. But it's just like that, and it really works well, even when you're playing live. Now, Alan just does not want to play live.
He said he's just not that interested in it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, some bands are like that. That's fine. You know what? We can still play it and still enjoy it.
Oh, yeah, and we still thoroughly enjoy the recording process. I wish we could get together more often, but, we're 3,000 kilometers apart here. Yeah. When we are able to get together, we just laugh and carry on, the entire week or 10 days he's here. I just have a little house here in Indiana, and we just turn it into basically the whole house into a studio and put the recording equipment all over the place. And yeah, we have a blast when we're together, but unfortunately we don't get together very often.
Yeah. Yeah. I find that a lot during COVID, a lot of that happened. A lot of bands couldn't, of course, record together, and they have connections all over the place. So we have bands that we played on the show from all over the world. You know, we had one guy from the U.S., one from Hawaii. Well, Hawaii is part of the U.S., but quite far away. France, and I think it was also Australia. And they did their own parts, put it together. Sounded great. And that's kept going now. You know, with the technology these days, it's amazing that we can do this. It's great.
Yeah, our first two albums have been really long, 17 or 18 songs, over an hour. Our third album's going to be the same way. But Alan has talked about that maybe because we have a fourth album already, all the guitars and vocals recorded, that Alan will just have to add the drums and bass and all that stuff too. And that'll be another hour plus long album, 17 to 18 songs. But Alan and I have talked about maybe doing a short fourth album where we just do it over the internet. And he'll have to send me some of the better recording equipment. But yeah, I'll record all the guitars and the vocals here for my songs, and then record the guitar parts for his songs. And he said this album that hopefully will be out this year has gotten really dark, much darker than we thought it would be. Mm-hmm. So we thought, well, let's just do a shorter, maybe half-hour album where it's a bunch of happy, bouncy songs. Lighten the mood a little bit before we get to the next massive album.
Yeah. That's great. Well, your first album, was that Lava on Sunshine?
Sunshine on Lava. Yeah.
Sorry, Sunshine on Lava, of course. Yeah. I love that album. And like I said, it has 18 songs. Guys, definitely check them out. They're on Bandcamp. Go to Bandcamp. It's such a good value. You get so much for your money. It's great. And they're all great songs.
Thanks. Yeah. And that's what we figured. If someone's going to buy the album on Bandcamp, we got to give them their money's worth. Yeah. And, yeah, so that's what we figure. We want to, by and large, have big, massive albums. Plus, that lets us explore, some mood shifts throughout the album and all, and try to take the listener on a little bit of a ride.
You certainly do. You certainly do. I really love your album. And the next one was On Loan from the Universe, yeah?
Correct.
Oh, lovely. You could see the difference, the progression between those two albums. Yeah,
they were recorded almost a decade apart.
Yeah.
So yeah, certainly a difference. And this third album is going to be even different from that. I don't know if it's going to be better. It's going to be different.
I really like that. I'm looking forward to it. Do you know the name of the album yet?
No, Alan has something in mind. I think that the title's a little too long. So we've been only haphazardly thrown a couple ideas back and forth.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, since we don't, make a living making music, we both have other jobs, and Alan is, a computer programmer, web designer. And so he's super busy with his work. And so with the new album, he has like half the songs mixed and ready to go. But they're more the shorter songs and all. So we're still a ways away from having it ready to go. And once we get deeper into it, we'll probably start throwing around some ideas for what the title will be.
Yeah, great. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Cool.
The first song I think you sent me was Aggression Level Medium. Am I saying that right?
Oh, yeah. That's going to be on the new album. That was the first song Alan finished mixing, which was, a year and a half ago now.
Yeah.
I guess he had it finished. And he does have a bunch of the songs, probably 8 or 10 of them finished. But, we still have, 7, 8, 9 more to finish off. We could probably release it as a shorter album right now, but we got to give people their money's worth.
Right. That's right. Yeah. And I was surprised because when I heard that song, it's quite electro. It's quite... in your face, it's, the voice is unusual. But then when I listened to some more of your stuff, oh my gosh, it's really diverse. That's what I really love about Norwegian Soft Kitten. They're very diverse. And I love that because like you say, with Gush music, it's anything that you feel that you want to say and in the way you want to say it. So you're not caught in any particular genre.
Yeah, and we like to think that, at least with the first couple albums, we punch the listener right in the face right off the bat with some really aggressive songs.
Oh, yeah.
And then have the mood swings and all. And certainly, Copper Harbor, as you mentioned, the 10.5-minute long song, dives into a Civil War soldier who has post-traumatic stress disorder and certainly is not happy at all. I wrote that song quite a while ago, and when I recorded the vocals for Alan, I hadn't looked at the lyrics in forever. And so I said, well, let's just I had to have the lyrics in front of me because there's so many. It's like a short story. And I said, well, let's just go through it once, get rolling, but let me get in the rhythm of it. And I started crying while I went through the whole song, and I was fighting back the tears at the end because at least for me, it's emotional. diving into this soldier's psyche. And Alan said, I think we got it there. He said, we'll do it one more time. He said, I think that's the take. And that's the one we used. Then other songs, of course, just ridiculous. Daddy Grandma that I'll play for you here today, just ridiculous. We have songs that are almost nonsensical. And Alan sometimes with his words, he doesn't even necessarily worries about what the words mean. But if they sound right for that part of the song, hey, he'll use that word. So we got a little bit of a lot of things.
That's right. I like the one, what is it called? I wrote it down here, but I can't seem to find it. It has the lyrics, she's my shnookums, she's my little...
That's one I'll play for you today. Baby, Shake My Hand. That's our lullaby that finishes off Sunshine on Lava. Yes, we wanted to, if the listener was listening to Sunshine on Lava as they were falling asleep, that final song would just ease them into sleepy land.
Oh, lovely. Oh, man, it's very enticing. Would you be able to play us a live song now?
Yeah, I'll play you Baby Shake My Hand here.
Okay, that sounds great. What I'll do is I'll give you the floor and I'll come off the screen for now, okay?
All right.
Thank you, Glenn.
You're welcome. This is Baby Shake My Hand. It's our lullaby that closes our first album, Sunshine on Lava. My baby loves me. Oh, how she loves me. Oh, how she loves me. She's my shnookums. She's my little woogie. Kiss me, or at least shake my hand. Oh, baby, shake my hand.
Lovely. That's so nice.
Thank you.
Just as you're getting into it and you're like, oh, this is great. This is great. You end leaving us more. Always want them, always leave them wanting more. And you do that. Fantastic. Thank you, Glenn.
You're welcome.
That's great. So with Alan, does Alan do any interviews, or is he quite keep to himself?
Alan has done, I think, 2. I've probably done, 30, 40 or so at this point. Alan has hopped on for 2 of them. And I don't know. I don't know that he's necessarily reticent, but he's got a much busier life than I do. So I get to be the one who does the interviews, which I love. And I handle the social media and all that stuff.
Oh.
And so Alan, rare appearances do people get to hear from Alan.
Yeah. Well, we're going to give him a shout out now, okay?
Alan!
Oh, sorry. Sometimes I get a little bit silly.
You will appreciate that.
Alan. Okay. So I have heard from the Institute while you were singing your lovely lullaby. Okay. They do need a little bit more data. All right. So we're going to do another very quick round. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So here we go. Are you ready?
Ready.
Best color.
Green.
Right. Best song.
Sunshine on Lava. Which is a song off our album.
I'll give you that one, mate. Best wild animal.
Orangutan.
Oh, lovely. Warthog. And the best musical decade.
70s.
Oh, you know what? That's a push because I love the 70s, but I have to say right now, we are hearing some of the best music we've ever heard right now. People my age, maybe your age, they could turn into their dads and say, oh, the music of today, blah, blah, blah. I think that's wrong. I think all the music today is based on from the 70s, the 80s, and 90s. Everyone has that in their cosmic inner soul, and it comes out through their new music. And that's why I love new music, and that's why I love Norwegian Soft Kitten.
Well, thank you. And yeah, I would say, I absolutely love, if I had to pick a tiny little sliver of music, like the early 80s, like British new wave music, and throw like Talking Heads and all in there as well. And Alan, he's a 90s metal guy. That's the music he loves best. So Yeah, that's what gives us a little of our flavor. But I also like, the 70s music. And Alan loves some of today's contemporary music as well. And there's so many fab indie bands
Oh yeah.
right now. I mean, the Darren Holland Project and Grim Rock and Katja Denard. There's so many talented artists and bands out there right now that I end up listening to.
Yeah. Well, you're certainly right with that. Independent music, I think, is the best music on earth. And one of the reasons is because there's not a huge high production value. It's from their feelings to their brain and to you. And that's it. And that's what I love about music. It generates that emotion, those feelings that make you love to be alive.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Good. You're funny, mate. Okay. So can I get you to do another song?
It's a song called Daddy Grandma. It's another short one, and this one won't be on an album for a couple years because all we have recorded at this point are the guitars and vocals. And so it's probably going to be years before anyone hears this. It's not available for streaming. It's not going to be on our next album.
Wow.
So this will be an exclusive for Unknown Sounds.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, Glenn, the floor is yours.
Daddy is grandma in the sky and looking down on me. Daddy is grandma in the sky and looking down on me. No, she's not. She's dead and buried in the ground, so no, she's not. She's dead and buried in the ground. How can she be looking down if she's dead and buried in the ground? So no, she's not. She's dead and buried in the ground. Dead and buried in the ground. Dead and in the ground.
Another belter.
Well, we need to be honest with the children when they're wondering about their deceased relatives. No, they're just in the ground and dead.
That's it. Yep. Refreshingly truthful.
Yeah, you're not getting any metaphors or anything like that from Norwegian Soft Kitten. We're just laying it on the line.
True. Very true. Who are some of your popular bands that you like?
I mean, when I was growing up, I loved Talking Heads, Tears for Fears, Thomas Dolby, Men Without Hats, the bands like that. And, Alan is, 90s metal. So he liked, the bands of that era. So, yeah, those are, I guess, some of my faves.
Yeah, that's great. Talking Heads, they were my absolute favorite growing up.
Nice.
I went to school in Oregon for a year, went to university there for a year in Eugene. And I saw them that year for Speaking in Tongues. Oh my God.
Wow.
They were absolutely fantastic. And what I really loved about it, they were filming it for, they made the film of that. And that was part of it. But in the middle of the concert, David Byrne left the stage and, what's her name?
Tom Tom Club, Tina Weymouth.
Tina Weymouth comes and says, "We are the Tom Tom Club," and played 2 songs. It was fantastic. It was so great. And then he came on, and they continued, But that was very magnanimous of him, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. And I have a couple Tom Tom Club tapes. I still have their tapes I listen to from time to time because I love Tom Tom Club as well.
Oh, yeah.
Wordy Rapping Hood.
Yeah, fantastic. Elephant, fantastic. Really good stuff, yeah. And you could tell that she learned from David Byrne because she was a performer as well. Because it wasn't, they were in art school and everything. So it wasn't just, music was just their outlet for their creativity. It wasn't just, that was the only thing they could do. That's what they chose to do. And they put some performing art into it too, like Laurie Anderson.
Yeah, or Devo. Devo always made sure they had a very visual performance.
Yeah.
And Alan and I have talked about that. If we do perform live, having random people like come on stage, they have to put like a costume or uniform on of some sort and act out whatever that uniform or costume is while we're playing. We won't know necessarily what they're doing, but yes, to try to have some sort of visual aspect to performances as well, should we get to that point.
Oh, that's great. That sounds like a lot of fun. I saw Devo too back in the 80s, and they were great. Saw them in New York City. Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, at the Palladium, and it's long gone, but sometimes I think was it a dream or not? But no, it was great. It was for beautiful, Beautiful World, I think the album was. It was really
Well,
great.
you know, I've a couple of songs I've come up with, like I'm Feeling, which starts off our most recent album, On Loan from the Universe. When I wrote that, I told Alan, you know, when I played the guitars and did the vocals, I said, I want this to be kind of a Devo like song, just something funky, weird. And we're going to have, I ended up writing 3 songs where I told Alan, I feel like it should be a Devo type song. So there was that on Loan from the Universe. We're going to have one of the songs on our album coming out this year, and then the third one on probably our 5th album.
Great.
So yeah, I like that. I've been influenced by Devo as well. I love their quirkiness.
Did you wear a flower pot on your head for inspiration? No,
I did not. Nope. Sorry.
that's all right. That's all right. So, oh, this just in from the Institute. We do have some information. Yes. Okay. All right. So what they say is Norwegian Soft Kitten and Alan and yourself, Glenn, are doing just great. They want you to continue the way you're doing. Oh, now this is a little bit of a downer. You may not become billionaires by the time, you know, you're dead and in the ground. But you will be appreciated and loved by thousands. That's great. That's all we can hope for independent music.
Well, yeah, and me and Alan, you know, we've talked about it. When we make albums, when we make a song, we want to make songs and albums we want to listen to.
Yeah.
And that's where I always feel conceited that most of what I listen to is Norwegian Soft Kitten, because so far we're making songs I love.
Yeah.
And so we always figure if we make songs and albums that we like, we'll call ourselves winners at that point. If other people happen to like it, that is total bonus to us. Right. So yes, if we get thousands of fans, massive bonus.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great way to look at it. That's how I look at Unknown Sounds. I play music that I like, you know, and if other people like it, it's a bonus, and they seem to, you know. And actually, I get to meet so many people like you, like all the other bands. You know what? This has truly enriched my life, meeting people like you, and also listening to your music. So thank you. Not only for me and Unknown Sounds, but for the listenership as well.
Oh, you know, we're certainly always flattered when we hear things like that, and you're absolutely welcome. And yeah, when we do get notes, you know, through Facebook or Instagram from people, it's always fabulous, you know. And I guess that's one of the things, going back to what you said a little bit ago, that today's music is a little rawer maybe, or a little more personal, that it's awesome that we can interact with fans. If they send us a note, we're going to reply. Because we don't have so many fans, we can't reply to it. If I was Mick Jagger, no, I wouldn't be able to reply to all of them. But yeah, with independent artists, you know, listeners can interact with the musicians themselves, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it can get personal. It's great. It's really great. And speaking of which, your favorite social media right now, or your preferred social media, is on X or Twitter, yeah?
I'm moving away from that, doing a little more on Facebook. Mm-hmm. Did start a Blue Sky account.
You did?
Yes, did start a Blue Sky account. And we're also on Instagram.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess right now the most would be Facebook, and then probably Instagram second most.
Okay, Facebook is NS Kitten. Is that right?
Correct.
Right. And the Instagram is Norwegian Soft Kitten, just spelled out, yeah? That's great.
Correct.
Yeah, I recently went to Blue Sky as well.
Yeah, everyone seems so friendly on there. It's been fun.
Well, there's a different philosophy behind it, I think. You know, it started on Twitter, and before Elon Musk took over, they took off and made their own. Thank God. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm going to wean myself off of Twitter because I don't agree with it politically. But there's a lot of people on there, you know, so it's kind of hard to let it go.
Yeah, with Twitter, I did have 12 pages at one point because I had different pages for the films we've made. And for me as a novel writer, have it down to 2 at this point. And I just posted this morning, I'm going to be closing down the other one. So the only account we'll still have on there will be the Norwegian Soft Kitten account. But yeah, I'm not posting quite as much there anymore, and doing more on Facebook and Instagram and Blue Sky.
Good. So you mentioned you are a writer. And also you're an actor.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm talking about. When you have that creativity in you, it comes out in all kinds of ways.
Yeah, and that's how I look at it. I go through different stages. There have been times where I haven't picked up a guitar for a year because I've been busy either working on a novel, working on a film. We do have a new film going to be coming out this year called The Death of Ivan Nussbaum. It's a comedy that kind of lampoons Tolstoy's The Death of Ivan Ilyich. We've done lots of comedies. We've done some horror films. This will be our 12th feature film we've released in, I don't know, 15 years, 16 years, I guess. So yeah, sometimes I'm really in the filmmaking process, writing scripts. I don't act in all the films, but I've acted in some, and I've starred in a couple of them as well. So I find acting to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, with the novels, right now that's been my main focus, is Alan's working on doing all the mixing for our upcoming albums. I had my fourth novel was published in September. Wow. I'm 110,000 words into my fifth novel, so I'm nearing the end of that one. I'm really liking how it's turning out. So yeah, just kind of any creative endeavor other than painting and drawing. I can't do that at all. No. But yeah, whether it's making music, writing novels, making films, I enjoy all those creative processes.
That's great. And when you say we make films, who is we? Do you have a production company?
I mean, I have a name, Driving with Our Eyes Shut, but it's nothing but a name. I mean, I've worked with Alan on a number of films. Eric Lassie has shot and edited some of my films. There's like this core group of approximately 100 people who have either been crew members of the films I've worked on or cast members. Right. And yeah, I just pretty much keep using the same people over and over. Most of them, now that I'm in Indiana, I'm not making nearly as many films. When I was in Colorado, there's a really big filmmaking community, and that's where I met Alan. Yeah. And so I was making pretty much a feature film a year for quite a while out there. Now that I've been in Indiana, this will only be our second feature film in the years I've been back here. We did a film called Poetry Slammed a few years back that kind of has fun with the Poetry Slam community. It's a comedy. I love it. I adore it. And this one here, we'll see how people react to it, The Death of Ivan Nussbaum. But pretty much like with the music, I try to make films I will enjoy watching over and over. And like To Die Is Hard, which has been our most popular film, I've probably watched that 70 or 80 times. It's just such a fun film. We did a film, Alan and I worked together on The Worst Movie Ever, which is the title of the film. It was every horrible thing I could think of, casting, dialogue, plot twist I could think of to cram into one film. And I've probably watched that 40 times or so. I love that film. So yeah, I try to make films that I will enjoy watching over and over. Don't always succeed, but by and large, yeah. And we have one now where I play a serial killer car mechanic called Auto Shop of Horrors. And yeah, I got to play the lead of the serial killer car mechanic, who's just he's the happiest serial killer you'll ever meet. He's having a blast. And so that we just got on a monetization site on YouTube. So people can watch it for free. Auto Shop of Horrors. Watch me kill people.
So are all the other films available there as well on YouTube?
Like To Die Is Hard is on there. Our thriller Paralyzed with Fear that Kane Hodder stars in. He's played Jason Voorhees in the Friday the 13th films more than any other actor. Wow. So we got Kane Hodder to be in a film of ours. Other films of ours are available on like Tubi TV. Midget Zombie Takeover, a horror comedy. That's on Tubi TV for free viewing, as well as To Die Is Hard.
Did you say Midget Zombie?
Midget Zombie Takeover, yes. Oh. And the thing is, people say midget's a bad word. Okay, the working title was Little Zombie Takeover because I didn't want to offend people. And it was only on the last day of the shoot. It was only a 4-day shoot. When you're doing small budget independent films, you have to shoot quickly. So we had brought all the little people on set for the final day of the shoot. And it was right near the end of the day. And our main midget zombie, his name's Travis Green, fabulous. Travis looked at me at the once. He's like, why are you calling this Little Zombie Takeover? I'm like, well, he's like, I'm a midget. He said, midget is not a bad word. It is just a term for a short adult. He said he hates little people, that term, because when you say, hey, little man, little girl, you're talking about a child. He said, I'm not a child. I'm a man. I'm a midget. I like to, if I can, have some character at some point say the title of the film, because that's just always such hilarious fun. Yeah. And someone had already said Little Zombie Takeover in the film, and it was too late to reshoot that scene. So at one point, Christy McKay, who stars in the film, she says, we have to stop this little zombie takeover. So we didn't have time to go back and reshoot that. But we did have enough time. Okay, we'll change the title of it because Travis insisted on it.
Good. And I definitely am going to look for that one. Sounds great.
It's terrible. It's so much fun. It's really bad. It's fun.
That's all the time we have tonight. Glenn, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your music. And I'm really looking forward to thanking you for seeing all those damn movies that you made. I can't wait for that.
You're welcome, Pete. And thank you so much for having me on.
Okay. And we'll see you soon.
Sounds good.
Cheers.